Well, we're here. We've made it there, and we came back 4 strong ish. Like we're 3 3/4. I think is what's going on. Yeah, we went from just me last week to we just brought everybody, and there are so many people in the chat room now that are more than normal. Like I think Sun Stays wins for bringing everybody in. So welcome in to Prep Talk Live, episode 79. We're going to talk about snow and ice. We're going to talk about Sutton's Days with the Dreadlocks. I know that is going to happen. We're going to talk about where TUP was, because he's been missing. And we're going to hope that Brecky can figure out how to turn herself from a dead camera emoji into her wonderful smiling face. So who knows what's going to happen in the next hour or so?
She's just following Gray Man. She's like under the radar. Yeah, it's good.
Truly,
I don't want to.
I'm so gray. I blend in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She's just no one knows what's going on, what's happening. So welcome in, everyone. I don't even know where we want to start.
Introductions.
Introduce yourself. Sutton's Day. You have done this before.
You're
very good.
I've never been on a live before.
Yeah. So I'm Casey with Cascadia Dispatch. With me, as usual, 95.5% of the time, is TUP the Urban Prepper. Joining us, special guest style this evening, is Sutton's Days, the queen of Canuary and all of the Candelorians. And our also new special guest is Brecky with Sustainable Prepping, who has been on before. So go back in the archive if you want to see what she looks like. Hopefully she'll be back at some point. We have done these kind of roundtable episodes before, and we've talked about doing these more and more and more. So very excited to do another one with everyone. TUP, let's start with you. Are you alive? Are you okay? What's happening? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's been kind of a rough couple weeks for myself, and then also in the family. I think this is the first time we've been on live in 2024, I think. So, yeah. Well, I think I put an update on my Instagram with regard to some health things that I've been going through the past couple of weeks. Where I had multiple ER trips, multiple doctor trips. I'm having some heart problems, which is I mentioned how my ejection fraction, which is the volume of blood that your heart pumps with each pump, is really low right now. When 20 years ago, I had cancer and I had chemotherapy, and the chemotherapy, while it kills the cancer, it also kills a lot of internal organs and stuff too, or at least damages them. And one of the side effects I had is I've had congestive heart failure for the past 20 years, but it's been medicated and stable, where my ejection fraction has been into a low normal range. But that changed about a couple of weeks ago. I thought that I was coming with pneumonia because my wife and kids had pneumonia the couple of weeks prior, which is why I was MIA during those weeks. But I had to do a few different ER trips, and we eventually figured out that I might have a flutter happening with my heart, where my heart's beating twice as fast. So it's like right now it's beating, like usually it's in the 60s, like 60 beats a minute or something. Right now it's probably like 125 because of a flutter that's happening due to a misfiring in one of the chambers in my heart. And so they had to do a real scary surgery last Tuesday, where they kind of what you do with when your computer's messing up, you reset it. And so they basically, okay, we're gonna reset your heart. So we're gonna stop your heart for a little bit, and then we're gonna bring you back, and we're gonna do it through injections. And so I'm conscious during this, and this is at like 5 a.m. And so it was like, like when they put an animal to sleep, it's kind of a similar process. So they injected me with this one drug, and I forget what it's called, but it starts with an A. And so then I feel my heart stops, everything starts shutting down, and then they're like, okay, breathe. And then they inject me with this other one to bring me back alive. So, And then by doing that, they're all like the anesthesiologists and all the doctors are monitoring these monitors, and they figured out what the problem was. They were able to see the flutter and see what was happening because they got my heart back to normal for like 5 seconds, and then it jumped back up to double time. So we figured out what it was, and I've been working with the doctor team to fix it. And I'm on some new heart meds right now. And on this Friday, I have to go in for a heart ablation, which is they basically go through a large artery in your leg, and they take a camera all the way up inside of your heart. They find the area that's not firing correctly, and they zap it, or they do whatever they do to hopefully fix it. And then at that point, hopefully it gets it back to my heart beating normally, which is they have like a 90% success rate on that. But before they could do that procedure, I have to have another procedure where they go in through my esophagus to do an ultrasound inside my heart to look for blood clots, because they can't do the other procedure if there's blood clots there, because they could release one and then you could have a stroke or a heart attack. So it's kind of a double whammy on this Friday, 11 a.m. And so hopefully once that gets finished, I have a few days. I have to take it easy for about 5 days, and then hopefully things start getting back to normal where I feel, because right now, like going upstairs and stuff is like climbing Mount Everest. So
Oh my gosh.
for these doctors, it's a routine procedure. They do it all the time. But for me, it's not routine. It's
No.
not,
Yeah.
so it's like a big deal for me. But I know and I have a super nerdy doctor. Like, I mean, it's the kind that you'd want for something heart related. So, and and I
Yes.
know a lot of folks have had heart ablation. So I guess it's my turn. So, but us
Did-
preppers, we're built different. We're pretty tough. So
Do they use terms like lightsaber and using
no,
the force?
no, it's just like, there's no joking around with this heart guy. So
Holy cow. Okay, so we knew that it was big. We just didn't know
Yeah.
it was stop your heart and then redo it big.
Yeah.
That is kind of next level.
yeah, I
sort of
don't
stuff.
recommend that test.
No.
No,
That
that
sounds
sounds
terrifying.
terrifying.
Yeah, no, it was, and I had to tell my wife, like I called her, hey, this is what they're trying to do, they're wanting to do, and she was like, freaking out, like and I was, my main concern is like, oh man, I want to go pee first, because I don't want the last thing I do potentially to pee my pants, like, so I'm like, okay, well, hold on, before you do this, let me go to the bathroom really quick. So
The end, right? Taking care
That's-
of business.
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking about.
Priorities.
Yeah,
He was like, hold on, take the electrodes out. I have to get my pocket urinal real fast.
Yeah,
and let me
yeah,
just
that's
take care of
basically
this.
the conversation we had. So.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Did you see the light? Did you
No,
like
it just
what?
everything starts kind of fading to black, and then they pump you with something to bring it back. Is what.
Good
what
God. Okay.
Holy cow.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that's why that's the only reason I missed the live streams.
That he has a pretty good excuse.
I mean, you were technically dead. So,
for
I mean,
seconds I was,
yeah. I mean, that's the whole death to us part sort of a thing that you really enacted. I thought it was a
Yeah.
joke, but apparently that's really where we're at with this whole thing.
yeah. So I'll keep everyone posted after Friday, and again, it's like a 90% success rate and they do the heart ablations all the time with people, and it's my first time. I'm a first timer.
It's the first time you've had your heart stopped and
Yeah,
your
first
heart
time. Well,
operated. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always had heart issues, and that's one of the reasons. Like, I don't think I'd be a good long Mad Max prepper type surviving out there, because I need the heart medicine to survive. And eventually, if everything was shut down, like I'd run out of it. So you need to stock up on a good amount of heart supplies.
Yeah. I wonder if that is one of the ones that you can, like with some of them, the new medication companies that are for prepping things, where we can get like, you get the antibiotics and all that sort of stuff. I know some of them
that
do
company that
additional.
Jace.
Yeah.
Jace,
Yeah.
Jace Medical, yeah, they've wanted to send like sample pack stuff for the antibiotics or whatever, but
Mhm.
I don't know about heart medicine. Some of these heart medicines are super expensive too. They're
Yeah.
out of pocket.
They just
Yeah.
said a thing that you can add on additional, like there's certain medications that they can get that you can add on if they're like your standard ones or something like that.
Yeah.
They weren't any that we use, so it wasn't helpful for us, but
Well,
it
and
might be worth
like,
looking into it.
have any of you guys looked at the Mark Cuban all online pharmacy, where he's trying to compete with big box store like big chain
Yes.
pharmacies,
very
by
cool.
being kind of like Jace, but it's all medications, because you do have to have a script from your doctor. Like, it can't just be the Jace doctors; it has to be your primary. So
Yeah, I
they
have to
can even
check
do
that out.
control medicine. So I don't know, just maybe worth
Yeah, I should check that out. I also should check out Jace too because as preppers, I think that while it's cool to talk about like guns and knives and cool stuff like that, bunkers, like medical stuff is like for a lot of us,
Yes.
like we rely on them, like we can't survive without them,
Yes.
no matter how good a
Absolutely.
shape we're in.
But there's a point, and I think when I first, I mean, 20 plus years ago, when I first started getting into this, and I realized there are people in my life that are just plain not going to make it if anything major happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was mad when I first, figured that out. I was super mad about that. And now it's kind of like, well, okay, if he's gone, I'm gone. So yeah, okay. We'll just, peace out. Somebody enjoy the chicken. But
Yeah, I only see Mark Cuban on. We watch Shark Tank a lot, and that's the only time I see him. But I haven't seen him talk about the medical
I
stuff.
saw a commercial or something
Yeah.
about that, like an ad or
He
something.
did an interview I saw, and it was like a clip, and said that he was really frustrated because in the pharmaceutical industry, it's standard across most industries to tack on like 15, even up to 20% more than it costs to make the whole thing. Like that's what your profit is. And he said in the pharmaceutical industry, it's like 70 or 80% profit. Like
Mhm.
it's so, you think he was like EpiPens was that whole big deal. He was
Yeah.
interviewed and he was
Yeah.
poor. He grew up for a season of his life being like, I think on food stamps or something. So he remembers like people not getting like insulin or something like that in his childhood. So he created this online competition to compete with the CVSs and the, Walgreens and the pharmaceutical industry to kind of sort of force their hand down a little bit and give people something where it's not being
Yeah,
marked up as
they need competition where that brings the
Yeah.
value down.
Well,
They
right,
compete against it.
exactly.
It's like with generic versus name brand.
Yeah.
They get to have the name brand for so long and charge that ridiculous price because of research and development and blah blah blah. And somebody needs a new home, but then they go to generic, and half the time, the generic is pennies.
Pennies,
Absolutely,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we may
Look at
not be
started.
able
I
to
can
get
go
around.
rant on pharmaceuticals.
Looks like the purposeful pantry said is that they did it and it was worked out well for. So that's a good thing to look into. Maybe I'll have a video coming out on the
Yeah, exactly.
Mark
I
Cuban
feel like I'm missing
medication.
part of the chat. I didn't know Darcy was in here. Okay,
TUP confronts Mark Cuban
Yes.
for.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
I saw some preppers on the Shark Tank the other day. We watch a lot of the reruns, so I'm not sure when it happened, but they were showing this one bug out bag, and I couldn't believe how much money they've made from this. And it's like
Wow.
kind of the bug out bags that are like pet peeve ones of mine, like where it's all this made in China
Yep.
craft or cheapo
Yeah.
crap. I'm like, hey, that knife sucks. That flashlight sucks. I've tested that, but they're laughing all the way to the bank. These guys.
It's always amazing.
And I think they
to me
got funding. They got funding from the sharks too. It's crazy.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we made 700,000 in our bug out bags last year, and we're looking for a 5% investment of. I'm like, geez, we're doing this wrong.
We really are.
Yeah.
We really
Yeah.
are.
I know.
Somebody in my chat said, pardon me, all day chemist. And I looked it up, and I don't know if that's the one with what's his name, but it is all day chemist, and they do prescriptions for a bunch of different stuff. I had not heard of that one.
Yeah.
I don't remember what all day sounds maybe. I think it starts with a vowel. It's like a one or an all or
Really?
something.
I have some homework assignment now after this stream to look into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I looked at it. Unfortunately, the medications that we would need are injectable or infusion. So
Right.
we need IV. Like we can't even.
No.
Some of them wouldn't even be possible, which is unfortunate. So.
Like I don't know what people do. Like if you're on dialysis or something, like
Oh my
in the end of
gosh.
the world, like what do you?
Do you really?
Yeah. So you're
Okay.
that's not.
You're
I'm
done.
sorry. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's miners carrying morphine into the mines, right? I mean, that is a part of like if you know anything about miners, they all would take morphine. So if they ever got stuck, like if there was a cave in and they couldn't.
Miners. Okay.
Miners.
I was thinking children.
I was like,
No, miners.
Yeah.
Miners
where
like
are we going
active-
on this?
I mean,
Is this a
yes,
COPA
but also yes. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. Sorry for my southern was coming out, but yeah, there's like songs about miners taking their morphine underground because if the cave-ins come and you either get stuck or you get injured, it's better than starving to death. So it's an unfortunate. It's the like dark side of having to wrestle with if something happens. I mean, I have a spouse that lives with chronic illness, and there will be a point that if we're in a real true like end of the world situation where we'd have to make some really tough decisions, and it's hard to think about that part.
A lot of these decisions would be made for us.
Yeah
we wouldn't have to make any decisions. And I mean, it sucks. It's a hard thing to think about, but I know my husband couldn't make it beyond his prescriptions without it. So I mean, it's something that you have to think about. If it gets that bad, if it gets 1 second after bad, that's a large part of the culling per se.
And I did a pretty good job of stockpiling the heart meds that I had previously, because my doctor, I guess he subscribes to my channel, so he's a
oh, that's awesome.
So
that's
he's been
awesome.
helping me out a little bit. But now I'm on all new medications. I'm like, oh crap, I got to start from scratch now.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Got to go talk to Mark Cuban, I guess.
Well, you are a famous YouTuber, and so I mean, they should pay attention to you.
Well,
yeah, you are a
really,
big deal.
You're a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, and so is Sutton States. I mean, Brecky, like we have amazing personalities and everything else, but I mean, let's be honest, we're not bringing hundreds of people into the chat room. So good that
they didn't even want me to see the picture. Let's be real.
Sure, I got blocked on video. I also had a dental procedure done on the other day, and that's another one. Like, if you had a bad root like thing, like that would be horrible in the apocalypse.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I had to have a tooth removed, and it was the worst.
Yeah, like tooth pain, like when you have a bad. I mean,
there's nothing worse because it's right next to your head.
Yeah,
it's in your head.
Horrible.
Yeah. Although that dental putty stuff.
Yeah, that can help for like a broken, like if a crown falls
certain
off
things.
or something.
Yeah.
But...
Remember that time, TUP, when you recommended this thing that you had never tried before, and then
and
I got it because I believed, and then I used it?
You did the case study on it.
Exactly, and it worked out wonderfully. Think of all the people that just believed you and bought that over the years and had no idea.
I'm not going to knock my own teeth out like to test something.
Hey, you got that car window that one time to do the rescue me thing?
Yeah, well, yeah, I went to.
Yeah,
I paid money for that, so I'm going to need volunteers so I could let me try out this crown repair kit.
No, well, and
commitment only goes so far.
We fostered a dog for a little while. The intent was to keep him, but it didn't work out. And he was a great big love bug and brought his head up under my chin and snapped my jaw shut and made one of my teeth loose. And I couldn't get into the dentist for 3 weeks. And that
oh my gosh,
I would
have.
My
goodness.
I was, and it didn't hurt to just hang out there. I just couldn't chew or couldn't do anything else because there's just tooth that was too attached for me to pull. And but it was super simple for the dentist. I probably could have pulled it, but I was positive that if I did it, I'd leave something in there and die of a heart attack. So it was that's me. But 3 weeks before I could get in to see him.
Oh, is that okay? Stupid questions, but I like to ask them. Is that because of where you live in proximity? Like there aren't a lot of dentists, so you can get in, or like you just have a crummy dentist who was like, "It'll be fine. We'll see you in 3 weeks."
Oh no, the dentists up here suck. But this guy, there's no way I could get in. Yeah, I just couldn't get in. There's not a lot of availability. Most of our medical stuff we drive 2 to 3 hours away for.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That was like when we were in West Virginia. Yeah. But now I live in North Carolina with a plethora of dentists.
Yeah, I drive 4 blocks to our dentist. So
nice.
So so it's a little different.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have farms. We don't.
We just saw Mr. Gaze and his
good like that.
Kind of emerged from the dark.
It looked like a ghost back there. I was like, oh my gosh.
It looked like the happiest, grooviest ghost.
It is the grooviest ghost you'll ever see. Yeah.
Are we?
All right. So are we?
You've been talking about medical stuff, but I want to know about the dreadlocks.
Yeah, it's time to shift
let's
gears.
get to the real
give
stuff.
us the deets. I love these dreadlocks. Oh my gosh.
Literally, it showed up on a Facebook memory over 10 years ago. where I was looking at it and going, I think I might get dreadlocks. What do y'all think? Because I'm coming up on 50 at the time. Well, I'm coming up on 60 here soon. So it was kind of, I would rather do it and not like it than not do it and regret not trying it. I have super fine, super thin hair. And so I'm like, no, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to have hair for like the first time in, 30 years. So I went out and I did it.
Did they do like extensions with it?
Extensions.
Too?
Yeah. It's extensions.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
How long did it take?
Actually, not as long as I thought it would. It took 2.5 hours. But she was learning right along with me, so I expect that time to go down pretty.
Do you have to shampoo them like the same way as
hair?
How does it just?
Yeah, just basically shampoo your scalp, and then the shampoo comes down onto it.
Down there.
But I don't condition it because that would build up in this. It wouldn't be good.
Okay.
And it's heavy as hell when it's wet.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. And it takes a few hours to dry. But
now, will they grow out and remain in the dreadlock, or do you have to get them redone?
I have to get them redone about every 6 weeks.
Okay.
So are you going to be rocking them all of 2024? Is this the?
That's my hope. Yeah, it's going to get thinned out. We honestly didn't. I mean, nobody up here has dreadlocks. Okay, I'm gonna, nobody. Okay,
there's no Rostas nearby.
No, not at all. So the hairdresser and I, it's a salon that I go to, and the hairdresser and I said, would you be willing to try this? And she's like, yeah, I would. Okay, great. So she did some research and I did some research, and I showed up with them, and it took us about 2.5 hours of figuring out how it's going. We actually took some out because after the first day, I'm like, I can't hold my neck up like this. This is just too much. So, and we're going to be taking some more out in a few weeks.
That's kind of heavy, I would think.
It's super heavy when it's wet. But we put in more than probably we should have, more than was necessary, but we didn't know. So
yeah, it's easier to take them out than probably to put them back in, I would guess.
Right now, it's just easier to leave them be.
Oh.
And then when we take them out, then we'll redo it so that there's less of them there. Because this would be horrific if it was 90 degrees out.
Yeah. You're not gonna roll with the whole for summertime.
Oh, it'll be here for summer. I think it's epic in the summer. It's just there's you're
gonna make them convertible. It'll be like
there's a
lot. That's a lot of dreads.
Yeah. So that's just it's a bit much. But yeah, I'm having fun with it.
I think it's cool.
I love it.
I fully expected you to show up with a mop on your head.
Well, I tried to ask my boss if I could take some time off at work to find a mop, and he said no.
Surgery's enough. Sorry.
It's for my live stream. He's like, no, I don't care. I don't care about your live stream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like, you've been gone long enough with this whole I'm gonna be dead in a hospital heart thing. All of that. You don't get to go get a mop.
Oh God! Somebody says now get Phil to get dreads too.
That would be man. That's next level.
Did I hear him saying no in the background? Oh.
He went to bed.
Oh, okay.
He's like, I'm out of here.
There's another prepper on TikTok that pops up for me every once in a while, and she also has dreads. But she has they're purple on the end.
I think I've seen her.
Yeah.
I honestly haven't been on TikTok a lot lately. But yeah.
Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah.
The prepper presence is starting to increase on TikTok, which is good.
Oh yeah. And the killer canners are on there too.
Yeah,
there are more canners on there trying to poison everybody.
Homesteading is more popular on TikTok than prepping is, but
let's all can bread. I call it natural selection. But
is Wrangler Star still on TikTok? Or?
Listen,
he hasn't come on my FYP lately.
I thought he probably got banned at some point.
But yeah, I mean, it's possible.
Okay.
I think you can still do stuff on TikTok that you can't do on YouTube, though.
Yeah. Well, I think the algorithm's a little friendlier, and especially for smaller, if you're just starting off a TikTok page or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's slightly different algorithms, and there's slightly I think people get really excited on TikTok, but the TikTok audience doesn't necessarily translate to YouTube.
Yeah.
And YouTube doesn't translate to TikTok. and
Or
none of it
Instagram,
translates to Twitch. And yeah, so you end up with these pockets based on like where the algorithm hit and then what works.
Yeah, but it takes time to figure out where it hits. You have to know what you're doing on there.
Yeah.
I just don't have the patience to make that many little videos.
Oh, I can't.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of cool AI tools now that you could use for auto generating it, just to because I think there's probably a younger audience maybe on TikTok, and I think it's to help recruit them into
I
prepping.
need to go and do the things for the children's, but I find Instagram hard. Obviously, I can't even get my computer camera to work. I'm the youngest person here, and I can't even get my computer camera to work. Yeah.
She's using actual Polaroids to post to Instagram.
Yes. Yes. Like, I might be a millennial, but really, really, I'm the greatest generation.
Do what you gotta do.
Yeah. All of her blog posts are made with a typewriter, ladies and gentlemen. It's
sometimes when I worry about AI, I'm like, well, I got Dad's electric typewriter, so screw you guys. I will just type it by hand.
The AI stuff's getting so scary and crazy what it could do. It's
one of Phil's his wound care doctor has a new company that is starting up, and he and I have talked about YouTube and different stuff, and he has a presence on Facebook for what it's worth, and I started following it. One day it popped up, and there's this guy, very, very monotone looking face, very monotone looking voice, doing the spiel about I don't know what, and I messaged him. I'm like, hey Jake, you messing around with AI? Yeah, stop it.
Yeah,
okay.
Do that,
yeah, I'm kind of afraid to get in the camera. You should be more afraid about what you're doing to your company with that AI guy.
Yeah, no. The AI video stuff's creepy, but like I think it could be beneficial for helping suggest video titles and writing description text for your videos and Facebook posts, and then taking a video that you already made and making a little TikTok, a 60-second TikTok where you don't have to do the work and it puts the subtitles. That saves you time, but it's still you or human. Not the.
Okay, what website takes your
Opus
landscape and turns it into
Opus Pro does a good job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it do
I
good?
actually, well, I've used it for, I've like taken the podcast and put it in. It does not do great with multi-camera.
No.
So like when I try to I've put up a couple with like the three of us before, and it doesn't do well with trying to figure out like the slicing it and everything.
But if you have a solo video of like doing anything like a canning thing, like it would do a good job of finding the most engaging part of that video for 60 seconds and splicing it and doing all the captions and stuff, and it would save you a lot of time to have to do that yourself. So
see, now that might be something to do then.
So I think I'd use AI as a tool, but not as a full-on replacement.
Oh no.
And I think a lot of the folks that do narration-based videos where it's all like stock footage and stock photos, and they're just talking about that's all. The AI could do all that. We need to really emphasize humans and like us talking like this and making jokes and stuff, because AI sucks at this kind of thing. AI doesn't have dreads. Yeah.
No,
AI doesn't have dreads.
No.
It
doesn't. Yeah.
Well, I was starting to play around with the image stuff because I thought, it would be super cool to figure out how to create myself as a model in an AI model and then generate these really crazy thumbnails of like me doing things but using AI to generate it. And I don't know how people come up with like really good ones. I tried for a week and I can't get anything that looks even remotely realistic with me in it. Like if you go to like the certain websites and type in something completely unrelated and it's just generating it from scratch with whatever, like that can look really good. But I still haven't been able to get anything either with me in it or taking like Adobe Photoshop now has AI generative fill in it, so you can take a photo of it. Like I've played around with that, and a couple of things will be okay, but like it's still, you need to go in and really dial in the selection and some of that sort of stuff.
For
And
a
it just
thumbnail, nobody gets that close to a thumbnail.
yeah, it just ends up being more of a headache than it is
Yeah.
like
I think
actually a thing.
Yeah, if you do a lot of the videos like this is the end of the world type ones, like you could probably have AI generate some cool end of the world backdrops where you just have your text on it, and
Yeah.
it's probably
Yeah.
good for that.
Yeah.
So snow and ice preps.
Yes.
How are you guys doing with snow and ice there? I heard
I
it got
love how
quite cold.
Sutton's Days
She's
brought
like,
us back to the
Get this
topic.
back on topic.
But
Yeah,
she's the
exactly.
queen.
Sorry,
Yeah,
ramble.
exactly. Which of us have been doing live streams for 9 years, and which of us have,
I haven't
70
done that, not
episodes in.
years,
Yeah. So we got totally frozen. It was not fun here, and we had like maybe an inch of snow and maybe a half an inch of ice, and like the entire city shut down. People were out of power for like 4 or 5 days, and Sutton's Days is just laughing in the corner over there. She's like, I can't even look up and not burst out laughing.
I would never laugh at you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was not fun for a lot of people. Luckily, we had a generator, and our area of town didn't lose power. But we had, I know, 2 people that lost power and had generators, and were running them for their entire neighborhoods, basically.
Well, that was nice of them.
Yeah, and so they had power outages, but then they also had ice, and then they also had trees that fell down. So even though things started to melt, they still had to move the trees to actually get out and get groceries. So yeah, it was, we did some grocery shopping when it looked like it was going to be bad, just to have some extra stuff. The conversation we had with someone was like, we have enough food to last us for several months, but like, we want to make sure we have like fun food for the next like few days while it snowed in. So
right?
Let's go do that.
I know. Yeah.
We can do rice and beans and noodles if we need to, but like, let's do something
I want
fun.
cheese popcorn. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do soup and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So we did a bunch of that sort of thing. We cleaned out our freezers because it was so cold that we could just open up the freezers and everything stayed cold. And so we went through and did a whole freezer clean out, which was great. And then we just did like projects around the house, hanging with the kids. We did. I scanned for 3 days about 2,000 photos, family photos, because now we're in this whole kind of preserving things because you never know what happens. So I was scanning photos, and then we had other relatives that had Wi-Fi uploading from their computers and trying to build this huge family repository. So yeah, so I think that was big.
For Casey lives in Oregon.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because we have a lot of your audience on here.
Yeah.
Like, no idea who the rest of us are.
Casey lives in Oregon, and
Sutton's steering us in the right,
Yeah.
Sutton's Days is getting the chat. Her chat is being like,
she's
who
like,
are these
my
jokers?
chat going crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, what is happening?
Sorry. Yeah. And Tup, did you get ice and snow and stuff?
Well, I live in the Seattle area, and I
Look at you.
we didn't have any problems. Some areas around the city did, but our particular neck of the woods, we were just fine. Last year was we had the crazy ice storm where it was like no one was fine and everyone was bundled in.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then everyone made all those TikTok and videos making fun of us because stupid people were driving like, oh, let me go to McDonald's or something, and it's just doing 360s down the road.
When you're not used to it, it's a whole different world. Yeah.
We have a lot of transplants in the area. So in Seattle, there's like a lot for in the tech and everything, and so they don't get the hills and things like that.
I will never hear the word Poke Bowl without thinking of you again. So we're
I still haven't been back to Poke Bowl because of that. It's like,
I believe it.
It
really messed me up. It really messed me up.
Kind of messed me up.
It messed us all up.
People are losing their for tough. It's great.
Yeah.
Brecky, did you get hit by the weather?
Not really. I mean, I'm in central North Carolina. We're not in the mountains, so it was. I mean, compared to the 3 of you, it was perfectly mild. It only got down to like 18 one day. So, but school was canceled because of wind. We had some really bad wind, and they were afraid about the buses trying to drive in the wind. So we had school get canceled early one day, but honestly, we were fine. And it's funny because I'm around Southerners again. I'm a Southerner, but I lived in West Virginia, and so like a lot of people that were like, "Oh, well, we don't know," and blah blah blah, and will the power be okay if it gets this cold? And I was like, "Yes." Like, and if even if it gets cold,
Electricity freezes. Be careful.
but it's just like I had folks that were like, "I've never had to get down to 18." I mean, they're not from North Carolina, they're from like further south than even I am, and I was just like,
Mhm.
"Y'all, this is not that bad." Like, how do you think people in Minnesota survive? It's colder in Duluth, Minnesota than Norway. Like,
They're used to it.
Did you get any kind
yeah.
of we got notifications from like the power companies and stuff. Hey, don't use your power for the next couple days, or don't whatever they wanted us to save on electricity and
Reduce
stuff
your
because it was a
power.
big
Yeah.
because it was a strain on the grid, and so a lot of my folks with like the electric vehicles were like, hey, what the heck? Like, so, but
I love that whole
Yeah.
electric vehicle concept, right?
it didn't work. It hasn't worked out for like the Teslas during the
Hundreds
ice
of
storm.
thousands of people without power. Take that, Tesla. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah. How many feet did you have?
we
Yeah.
got with the first one that hit, we got 14 inches, and that's
So
what
a
I managed.
dusting.
That just a dusting.
Yeah.
I put on my snowmobile boots. You know how those come up kind of high up on your leg. And as I'm walking out the door, I went, I'm going to take a walking stick with me because I wasn't sure what was out there. And I'm grateful that I did because I you know how the snow is so deep. I'm like, you guys know. No, you don't. The snow is so deep that even though you're not sliding or anything, you can't move. And so you lose your balance. And so I lost my balance down. Yeah. But it was poofy. It was snow. So, but the issue was that had I not had my walking stick with me, I'd still be out there. You can't get purchased to get back up again.
Yeah.
But and let me see if this will show up. Okay, so that's in my barn.
Oh my golly.
Looking out. That was the last day I managed to get that barn door open.
Wow.
It has been frozen closed ever since.
Yeah.
We have over 18 inches of snow, and it started raining tonight. So we're gonna have a hot mess. It'll find me again.
Are we doing high fives? Is that what's going on?
Yeah. No, I got fuzzy there for a minute.
Yeah.
So, but I've got a friend in Kentucky that used to live up here, and so he takes great joy in messaging me every time winter hits up here. And he's like, "What's the temperature today?" I'm like, "It's -20. Shut up." He goes, "Well, 30 here today, and we're freezing." Yeah, I'm feeling for you, dude. And so we kind of go back and forth, but it's winter. It's just what happens.
How do you store water in your vehicle when it's that freezing?
How do you start watering your vehicle?
How do you store water in your vehicle?
I don't.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't.
Because it never really gets that cold here, and I actually when it was that freezing temperatures, it was like in the not negative, but like 17 degrees or whatever.
Right.
But I have a lot of glass bottles in my vehicle because I think the water stores longer in them, but I don't think that'd be possible.
Well, no, you'd probably break them.
Well, yeah, they didn't break where we were at, but but I like storing them in glass bottles just because it is because sometimes I forget about them and they get some plasticky taste.
Yeah.
But I think you'd have to go a different route then. So.
Yeah, I had a water bottle. It was half full, and I forgot it in the car. And when I went back out there a couple days ago, I work really hard to not leave the house. When I went back out there a couple days ago, it was frozen solid, and my heater is exceptionally good. Yay, GMC. So we're like cranking down the windows a little bit to cool it off because it's too hot. But that actually started melting the water bottle. But if anything happened where I didn't have that heat blasting at it for a long time, all I've got's ice.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's fun.
Yeah, this is why I stayed in the South.
Yeah, but you have like hurricanes and gigantic mosquitoes.
Exactly.
Well, y'all get like the big giant flies that bite. The black flies in the summer. Maybe it's just Minnesota. We'd go visit family in Minnesota when I was a kid. Every third summer, we'd go and visit my dad's family, and like we have mosquitoes. You're right. Mosquitoes are terrible. They're the bane of my existence. They are proof that Satan is real. But In Minnesota,
That's
these
taken
big
care of.
black flies that can bite you through your jeans, and they hurt.
Are
And
you
they
sure
can
those are
exist in
flies?
Someone
Georgia.
says horse flies is what they're saying.
Is it horse
Horse.
flies? Oh my
It's a
lord,
bunch of
they
peppers.
are aggressive. They hurt. Like mosquito bites are itchy and annoying and whatever, but like horse
I had
flies, like
Yeah,
blood.
I had a horsefly bite me in the middle of my back, and it is a horrible feeling. But they don't happen very often, at least around here. I don't
That
have
doesn't,
Flies.
that
Thank
doesn't
you,
sound like a
Natasha.
fun thing.
Are horse flies like the yellow jackets of the fly
They're
species?
big.
Just
They're
punks.
big.
Like,
They're
Yeah, they're
supersized
punks.
flies, and they're aggressive.
do they serve a purpose?
Do any of them serve a purpose?
Well,
No.
I think flies probably eat. They clean up some of the poop. Or I don't know. They do. They must do something. But
They hang out at the store and
those
they,
yellow jackets,
hang out.
they're straight up a-holes.
Yeah.
That's their sole purpose in the species.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the horse flies are similar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have like regular houseflies and things. We have like the threat of the earth opening up and swallowing us at any given moment. So there's that. We are woefully unprepared to deal with any sort of inclement weather, a la a half an inch of ice and everything. They were
Everything shuts
closing
down,
the schools the day before anything even happened because they were like, we think that this is going to happen overnight, and so we're just going to close them now. We're not even going to wait
Well, you
till the
guys
morning.
don't have the equipment to take
No.
care of the roads or anything else. So
No.
yeah,
Same
it's
here.
it's a hazard at that point. Yeah, my sister's my sister's on the coast in North Carolina, and I called her. I'm like, you got serious high winds coming through. My sister is oblivious. I love her. And I said, you got some serious high winds coming through. And she's like, yeah, I put the lawn chairs away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as you're good with it, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Mm-hmm.
The windows will be fine.
Yeah. I'm like, it's like hurricane No, we're good. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not close enough to the coast. We're more than 3 hours out, so we can get the wind. We can get some of the winds, but we're not in the danger zone. So we're actually kind of we're like in the middle. So we have that, but that's the other thing I think is important when you think about winter preps. If you're from the Northeast or the Midwest, you're used to it, so you have culturally people just have things because you have to. But then if you're someplace like Seattle, if you're someplace like the Southeast or the Southwest where we don't get winter weather often, it is not at the top of your list of preps because you're like, well,
After
what are you?
Texas, it should be though.
It should be exactly. And this to me is where it's that, okay, how do you begin to plan for it might only happen once every 3 or 5 years, but it's more likely to happen now because, I watched a whole thing about Arctic blasts and how they're going to become more often and they're going to start changing some of our winter weather patterns where you're not going to get heavy snows in the Southeast like you have, Lisa, but we're going to get ice blasts. Well, who has chains for their tire? I mean, we don't have that stuff. So
Well, we got the
prepping
super
ahead.
cold too, and we're not used to that super cold either. So I mean, we lost power. There were people around here that didn't have power for a week, because consumers' energy sucks. Anyway, they don't bury lines because you can't find the problem if you bury the line. There wouldn't be a problem if you buried the line, but I'm not having that conversation. So yeah, I mean, we go through it. And I've always said I'm really self-amusing. I am terribly self-amusing. I have more to do than a sane person should have. But I realized during all of that storm that a lot of my self-amusement requires electricity.
Yeah.
And I'm not turning on the generator just to amuse myself. We've got the generator, but wintertime is the one time of year I don't worry about losing power. We have wood heat. We store water for flushing if we need it, and it's normally not for a crazy amount of time. But if we were losing it for a few days, I'd finally give up and turn that on. But otherwise, yeah, you just learn to deal with that.
Yeah. I think that's also where the idea of like investing in things versus like, it's kind of I like to think of it in kind of the business sense of like assets versus supplies. It's a weird accounting thing in my head, but it's like assets are the things that you buy and you depreciate over time. Like a building, a computer, or whatever. Like, so the generator, infrastructure type stuff. And then there's like supplies, which is like, okay, there's maybe food stuff, like some food stuff, or we're going to get snow boots that are cheap because we may only use them twice a year or something like that. But
yeah, your kids will probably outgrow them before they use them, right?
Exactly, yeah. And so for us, the generator was, you know, we know that our grid, the amount of people that are going to use our grid and the amount of power that is being generated by our grid are not going to match in the very near future. Right. And there are no plans to change that. And so we are going to surely end up like California with the rolling brownouts and blackouts and that sort of thing, which will just be kind of part of life as opposed to only in these extreme sort of things. So the generator for us was like, okay, let's add it because we're going to need it overall. But then also in the meantime, if it's a snowstorm, if it's, you know, ice or whatever, we'll have it and available and it'll just kick on and go. But then there's stuff like, you know, snow shovel. Like I realized we don't have a snow shovel. I had like a little shovel that I started to put next to the door with me so that I could kind of like break the ice up as I was going outside. Yeah. But I was like, I need to get a snow shovel and just put it in the closet.
A snow shovel won't break up the ice.
No, but it would if we get snow. We don't get snow often, but like we should have one because otherwise I'm going to be using my little garden shovel to try to burrow our way out or whatever, which is probably not a great plan.
Yeah. Okay, but if you do, will you please turn on the camera?
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
I don't have a backup snow shovel. I have a snow shovel, but I like preppers. We like having redundancy, and I don't have redundancy for a lot of those things that don't happen that often. And snow shovels, ones. I keep looking at it. I'm like, oh, that's my only snow shovel that has to, and it's plastic. I think.
First line of prepping is prep for the things that are most likely to happen, and then once you get those set up, you can go to the things. I mean, the fact of the matter is, I don't care what you call it. The climate is changing. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, it's just happening. And that's something that we're all going to have to adjust to. Last summer was one of the coldest summers that I can ever remember here. Normally we get pretty hot and we didn't. And this has been, I mean, they predicted it's going to be very frigid with not a lot of precipitation in winter. And it was 50 degrees at Christmas. So I decided to go online and buy 6 raised beds. I'm like, if I can see the grass, I'm going to do something with it. And then the next week it snowed, you know, but it's like driving, you know, going to a car wash. It's going to rain. But, you know, if you start with that, this is the first level. But Texas, I think, woke up a large part of the country and said, this can happen to you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it happened again?
When was it? Like 2019 or?
It was only a couple of years ago.
Last year.
21?
21?
2021 or 2022. Yeah, something like that. It was really, really recent. And they had another ice blast. It wasn't as bad, but there was one that went through North Texas in Arkansas. And it got, you know, parts of the Ozarks can get pretty cold, but not as far down. I mean, didn't they say it was supposed to be like freezing at the border? They were going to have like freezing temperatures at the border with Mexico. Like,
Darcy from the Purposeful Pantry was in the chat. I don't know if she still is. She lives in Texas. And so her and I talk every day, and she's my work wife. And so, you know, I get the updates of what's going on in the DFW area. Pardon me, I'm sorry. And I mean, they were as cold as we were for a little while there. And, you know, they're not set up for that. They don't, you know, it's like having heat in Hawaii. Nobody has a heater in Hawaii. You know, when I got cold in Hawaii, I turned on my oven and closed my windows. So that's the kind of stuff that the more southern areas are going to have to start thinking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting too, like at Costco, because I mean, we love ourselves.
Costco. Like we got our Costco shout out in the video.
Costco, where's the sponsorship? Come on.
49 minutes in, and we finally got
we got Costco taken care of.
Costco totally sponsored.
Yeah. Prep Talk Live, unofficially sponsored by Costco. They always have ice melt in the shelves, and they have snow shovels and all that sort of stuff. And I always ignore it because I'm like, we don't need it. But my brother lives a little bit higher elevation than we do, and so they were really iced in and snowed in, and they lost power for 4.5 days or something like that. And so I ended up actually, they couldn't get their car out of their driveway, but I could get my car up their hill to, like, we refer to it as the glacier. I could get to the glacier, and then we could kind of walk across it, and like, okay, if you needed anything, we could do it that way. But we got them ice melt because they didn't have it because they'd never needed it before. And then I got a bag for myself, and I was like, you know, we were fine, but just in case, like, okay, let's throw it in the garage.
I was going to ask about the ice melt because when I've got it, like I have to replace it every year because it turns so rock hard that I can't do anything with it. Is that
what do you keep it in?
I have no
a
idea.
5-gallon bucket?
An open 5-gallon bucket?
No.
Oh.
A 5-gallon bucket with water in it?
No, I don't. Am I doing something? I must be doing something.
I guess I don't know what kind of ice melt it is. I guess it depends on what it's made of.
Okay.
Because there's different kinds of ice melts out there that will or won't hurt your grass, that will or won't hurt your concrete, that will, so. But yeah, we normally.
Drive says ice melt is toxic to soil. But
yeah.
You know what? You can tell it's a Portland Costco because the ice melt that I got was safe for plants, animals, and it turned purple. So you could see exactly where you had spread it, and then it also would not stain your concrete or anything like that.
Right.
It was the gentlest, nicest of all of the ice melting.
It was Dreadlock ice melt? Is that what you're telling me?
We actually use that ice melt because I don't want to kill my plants, and I've got a ton of critters around here. And like snow here on my chat, Jill, Sunrise Side Snow Dogs, ice melt doesn't work if it's too cold. So like with these really frigid temperatures, there's no sense in putting it out there because it won't work.
Yeah, that is true.
We've had a lot of people over during while they weren't stuck in with the ice. So many people fell and broke wrists or arms or legs. There was a lot of
those
that
videos. My goodness.
So it's not just the car losing power, but you get a bad.
Well, everybody has seen that fire truck video.
That's crazy.
That's exactly what
I mean, I'm like, God, that hurt. You know that. That fireman probably had to change his pants after that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a whole... And everybody in that neighborhood just waiting to see if the truck was going to hit into
that one woman's just standing on the front porch with a cigarette in her hand laughing. Yeah, I'm like, yeah. Yep.
Do any of you guys use specialized like snow tires?
No.
We don't.
Okay.
Actually, we can't even... I don't think we can put chains on our tires where we are. I think it's illegal. It'll tear up the roads.
There's a period of time in at least Portland where you can have studded snow tires, and then you have to like take them off and swap them out.
Yeah.
And in the past, I haven't done it because I didn't want to buy another set of tires and didn't need it. But now realizing that my car was really kind of the only car in our 3 households that could get anywhere with just 4-wheel drive, but not over the ice. Right. I was like, okay, maybe it's worth it to invest in some studs for future years and put them on, and then if we need them, then they could go anywhere as opposed to worrying about chains.
You have to make sure that your next, how many cars use the same tire then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know farther up, in the Upper Peninsula, they can use them, but here there's no need. Our county road commission was out all night long all over that. So
yeah, we had like 3 guys for the whole city, and they were just they worked very hard. Anyone who's watching that's a utility person, you did a wonderful job. You were out. There were lots of all of the things, but yeah, we don't get like side streets don't get sanded really or anything. Like the main roads is what they focus on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phil regularly slides past our driveway because the way that the road in front of our house is covered in trees.
Yeah.
So we're always the last one to thaw out. And with this ice and stuff, Phil's like, I stepped on my brakes all the way back there. I just kept sliding right past.
Wow.
Yeah, they just started putting sand on our road.
You know what's funny is having lived in West Virginia, which is the last of many, many lists, it had the best plowed roads I've ever seen. And now I lived on a main road, like my house was on a main road where a lot of the logging trucks went through. But the legacy of Senator Byrd was he was on the Ways and Means Commission, and they always had their main interstate, like any of the main roads where logging trucks or like 18-wheelers went through, they kept those things pristine. Um, and it's just interesting how important that was. But then you'll be up like a holler road and you're like, okay, this could just crumble at any moment. Like I'm up in a holler and I might just be up in a holler until they come dig me out.
Mhm.
There were people that routinely, they're up in a holler and they just planned, okay, we're going to be snowed in. We have to have enough of everything for 3 months just in case.
Yep.
And that was just how they'd always lived that way. Like that's just all you just know from
It's just
December
what
to
it
March.
is.
And yeah, if the road gets impassable, it's not worth to try to get down.
I
And
have begged to be snowed in for 20 plus years.
well, Helvetia, West Virginia will happily accommodate your desires.
Yeah, because Michigan is not pulling it here, but yeah.
I love that you just used the phrase "up in a holler." That is that is some Southern talk right
You
there.
said a few
That is
different
it's
fantastic.
funny 'cause
southern things I never heard before.
You can tell
Yeah.
you can tell that I've been around my like country folks a lot lately, like the last
It
couple of
sneaks
days.
out.
Because it
Mhm.
sneaks out.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if I talk to my dad's Midwestern, and occasionally a Ruth or a Root, a you betcha will sneak out. But if I'm talking with my like farmer folk, it's every bit of my southernness creeps out.
Yeah, you said "oh my golly," and I don't think I've ever heard I've heard "oh my gosh" or something like that. Oh
I
my
didn't
golly.
catch that.
Yeah, it was about 10 minutes back, but it was.
Oh,
I was
okay.
like, oh, I gotta
Everybody
gotta
watching the
replay.
replay, go back and
Watch the
rewind.
replays and
Oh
find
my
out.
golly.
Oh my golly!
Oh my god.
I'm so wholesome.
It's definitely more PG than I am. Yeah,
I'm, I'm trying.
I know.
Yeah.
So now that you've been through your little cold snap, other than legitimate snow shovel or an extra snow shovel, what do you think you're going to get next to make sure that you're prepared for the next one?
Is this for me?
For any
We'll
of you?
start with you, Tup.
Okay, well, I got prepared after like we had that ice storm. I think that was last year, and
Mhm.
I don't know if I'll get much more than what I already have, other than like, keeping up to date on some gas storage and propane storage and things like that for power outages. I don't. It doesn't do it enough for me to have additional snow stuff like other than the shovel. I think I'll probably get new ice melt and get new rock salt because mine seems to turn into blocks for some reason. I'm not
Do you
sure
guys
what
have a
else.
Tractor Supply?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, I guess so. I've never really been there. I don't think.
You've never been to a Tractor Supply?
No.
So in Tractor Supply, you can go in and you can buy a flamethrower.
Now we're talking. Now this is hardcore prepper stuff.
And it hooks up to a propane tank. Okay.
Yeah.
So you hook it up to now legit. I mean, we're old as fart dust. So we put the 20-gallon propane tank on the dolly and we, pull it around that way. But it's a legitimate flamethrower. And we originally bought it because the ice got so bad and we had pigs that we had to take to processing and we weren't sure we were going to be able to get the trailer out of that area without melting a whole bunch of stuff.
Pigs?
Yeah.
Is that
No. We flamethrower the ice. So you are my favorite.
Jeez.
Taken.
You are my
Jeez
favorite.
Louise.
Yeah, but I mean, it's great for taking down weeds and stuff, but you have to be a responsible adult who has a hose there too if it's dry outside. But a propane flamethrower from Tractor Supply, it costs less than $150.
I like that idea.
I know, right?
I like that a lot.
I want the YouTube video of that.
The Canadian Prepper did a video a while back with his flamethrower, and I never saw
Yeah.
it. And
Was he riding his electric bike when he did it?
Yeah, probably like the
Okay.
Tesla or I don't know,
Yeah.
or the Tesla truck or something.
Oh my
I'm still
god.
trying to figure out. You said it's old as fart dust, and I'm trying to
All
get.
this part does.
I'm trying to figure out how old fart dust is.
It's old.
It's so
It's not space dust. It's like
It's-
fart dust. So
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yep.
I'll check a look at tractor.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, they got a lot of cool stuff at Tractor Supply. Be careful.
I see
Yeah.
people using it for like weeding or something because
Yes,
they're doing it
I've
themselves.
used it
Yeah.
for that too. Yeah,
Okay.
because like around my garden fence, I'll weed in the garden. I will not weed the garden fence. So in the spring, we'll take it out there, and I have the hose, and Phil has the flamethrower, mainly because I don't think he trusts me with it. And so he'll flamethrow, all the dead stuff that grew up the fence, and then I'll come back and hose it down so the garden doesn't catch on fire. But
It sounds
Yeah.
awesome.
it's a lot of fun, dude. Yeah.
That sounds
Mhm.
amazing.
I know.
All right, so we got to add that to cart.
Yeah.
I was looking at tiny snow throwers and like snow plows and things.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. They're
Did we
still
get
a
our
little
first spot
spendy.
of the chat? Sorry.
Did we?
Oh, there is
Risky,
one in there.
risky. We got him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're
Okay.
doing good. We're doing good.
We have hit the threshold, ladies and gentlemen.
Dun, 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 dun,
We
dun.
have been botted.
Yep.
But they end up still being a bit expensive, I think, for what we would use them for.
Do you have
Like,
ATVs?
no.
Okay, so yes. Well, you can get God, I hate recommending this, but it would probably work in your situation. They have electric snow blowers,
Yes.
and they're
Yes.
small, and
Yeah.
you can use them on like the front steps or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah,
not heavy.
I saw those, and there are ones that work with like DeWalt makes one, and
Yeah.
Ryobi makes one where you can use the batteries.
The
so
battery. Yeah.
all of our
Yeah.
power tools are
How's it
DeWalt,
different
and
from
use
a
that.
leaf blower?
Because it's got an auger on the front with a metal bit, and
A
so
snow blower?
it grinds up the ice and then it throws it
Got it. Okay, cool.
out.
Yeah.
So if you're like rocking it down the street, it's gonna chump up the snow and the ice and then throw it onto the curb.
Sweet.
Not so much ice, but
Yeah.
but definitely the snow.
Yeah.
So if you get that dreaded accumulation,
Yeah, it was. They were like between like $700 and $1,100 depending.
oh goodness, no, not for
on.
no.
That's ridiculous.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
those were for like those were like at Home Depot, and also I would imagine
is that
that
a
the
bougie
pricing.
prep now that you're listening here, Casey?
Yeah, exactly. That's probably a
Bougie.
bougie.
That's
prep.
bougie prep.
That's very much my speed.
The bougie prepper,
The bougie prepper.
your
yeah.
snowblower, and your wine stash.
Snowblower. Yeah, exactly. We just like to keep
You,
the
David.
cellar. Yeah.
Oh, really, Hannah? Okay,
Um,
yes, that would be very bougie. That's actually kind of big.
Yeah.
DeWalt has a battery powered snowblower,
yeah, it's like
for
60-volt batteries.
1,051. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want you guys to know how badly I've been keeping in all your mom jokes on your live stream.
However, if you don't want to do DeWalt,
That's why we cut your video off, Becky.
they have exactly. See, that's
Yeah.
what happens, Brecky. They
Yeah.
have a cordless snow shovel. It's the weirdest thing. It's kind of like a little mini snowblower,
Uh-huh.
and that's like $125.
Okay. Well, that might be a good interim.
Yeah.
Like test run or something
Yeah.
like that.
Well, I agree. I mean, we do Ryobi instead of
Yeah.
DeWalt, and I would love to have everything, but sometimes you just gotta suck. There's one for 89.
Yeah. Yeah. We kind of split DeWalt and Ryobi because we know some people that have some connections to DeWalt, and so like
We know some people that know some people.
yeah, exactly. So we have
Nice to
acquired
have a
some
friend.
DeWalt things, and so then we've just added because the batteries all match. But then Ryobi had misting fans. Now we're going to talk about bougie preps. So when we went camping, I wanted to have misting because it was going
Of
to be
course
hot
you
out.
did.
Now
So I
listen,
found cordless battery operated misting fans that you set on a 5-gallon bucket, and then they do. But Ryobi was the only one that I could find that was in stock before
Yeah.
we went.
see, I need to get that because
Yeah.
I live where the heat will kill me way more likely than the snow,
Yeah,
right? Like North Carolina, unless you're up in the mountains, we might get some ice. It's annoying,
yeah.
but
So we
it
have
will get hot enough to kill you.
we have the DeWalt fans that are portable with the batteries, but
Yeah,
the
so like
misting
that's what most of my
capability-
preps have been more
is
around
Ryobi.
keeping cool because I'm more concerned about the grid
Mhm.
going down from too much heat where we are.
Yeah.
And then just getting so hot that it makes you sick, you know.
We just go jump in the lake. But we
Yeah,
have
there are
the
snakes in our lakes.
oh, okay, I'm staying in Michigan. We have the Ryobi fan, with the batteries
Yeah.
that you put the fan on. No misting because I imagine that would just tick me off. But Phil can't sleep without a fan, so
lovely.
it's very lovely.
It's very lovely. We also have we also were playing around. So I did a little testing. I channeled my inner TUP and I decided I was going to test some things out. So we have the Ryobi that's all one unit and you just stick it on a bucket of water and it goes.
Okay.
And then I also you can get a misting kit that's like the tube with the misters on it that's round and zip tied it to a standing fan and, plug that in. And then we use that by the hot tub. So when you were in the hot tub, you could get misted. It was very lovely. I didn't love it.
I think you need to change from Cascadia Dispatch to Bougie Prepper.
Yeah, Bougie Prepper.
As a bonus, I also attached it to a Wi-Fi water thing that was tied to Alexa, and we have an Alexa by the hot tub. So then I could just say, I could say like Alexa, turn on the misting, and it would just turn on the up water and the power, and it would just go.
Oh my gosh!
Exactly.
And Alexa by the hot tub.
I mean, not like next to it, so it would fall in. It's on like a table. It's like 6 feet away, so it's safe.
He's got a ball in there.
But yeah, we have like the string lights that go over our yard from Costco, of course.
Yeah.
And so like we can turn those on and off from the Alexa. We can turn on we've got a TV that swings out so you can, watch the game and, tell Alexa to turn.
It's got a big time.
It's time to rebrand.
It's bougie preps. It's all, it may be the end of the world, but you don't have to hate your life while it's happening. I mean, like, is that a t-shirt right there? Did I just come up with one? I think I did.
Yes, that's a total tagline. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We have budget preps and we have bougie preps. And,
that's right.
Never the two shall meet.
Go bougie or go home. Yeah.
Go bougie or go home.
Do you know how much time I spent trying to figure out how to actually spell bougie in the correct way? Because there's like 4 different ways to spell bougie, and they all are derived from slightly different intentions.
Oh.
So yeah, I still don't know that I have the right one, but I just had to decide.
It's easier just to say it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Brecky, what are you going to do now that you've gone through slightly cold, but you're, in West Virginia waiting for the flies?
Yeah. I mean, I think the key for me is making sure we, have enough wood because we have a fireplace, but we did not have enough. So, and then figuring out how to make the fireplace more efficient because it's really more for looks right now. And then I think, I'm not really worried about stuff like snow melt. We have a rocky driveway and things like that. So it'd be more just electrical power, like the same things I'm already prepping for heat, just adding in, propane. I have the Mr. Buddy and stuff like that, but just adding more, just layering it up. I think long term, it would be eventually investing like a whole house generator, but we don't have that kind of money right now. Them's the bougie preps, the whole house generator, right?
That is, I think, one of the bougiest of the preps.
I love it. Yeah.
That is the bougiest of the preps, based on just like amount of money involved in that whole process. 100%.
And I don't know if the wait time's gotten any better, but the wait time for a couple of years there was horrible. But to me, to spend $10,000 to $15,000, whatever it is, for like a Generac whole house generator, right?
Yeah.
We don't have natural gas. We have propane. So I would be spending all of that money for the opportunity to use up a 250 or 500 gallon tank outside. Once that's gone, that doesn't do me any good at all. So
yeah, and that's the same here. Is we don't have gas lines. We live out in the county, and there are no gas lines. So the woman we bought the house from actually had a whole house generator. Like she had the whole hookup, but she took it with her.
Oh my god!
She took it with her. She put it in the sales. That was one of the things that was not included in the house. Was the whole house generator. And I remember being like, "Just leave it."
Yeah, that's seriously a lot of effort. But the thing is, I mean, our little, I don't even know how, I don't remember because it's been a few years since we bought it. The generator that we bought, we had wired up. So it's out in the pole barn. And if we ever need to turn it on, we just pull it out the door, plug it in, turn off everything in here. Phil will eventually write it all down for me. But it even ran. He said that we tested it with the air conditioning, with the central air on, and it ran just fine. And I'm like, and honestly, the only reason I can come up with needing it is for the well pump. That's it.
Yeah.
So
I see some people have said stuff about solar. I have solar, and when we have sun, it's great, but it's just not, we don't have a setup where we can really replace what we would use for a whole house. Like we can use solar panels to run a fridge or a freezer, but we don't have enough land available where I live to get the solar we would need for that kind of generator. So
we don't have enough sun.
we got it in North Carolina. My property just has a ton of trees.
Yeah, we looked into solar because I would really love to do solar, because even though we have the whole house generator with the gas line, if there's an earthquake or something and the gas lines break in Portland, like then it doesn't work.
It's terrifying.
So wanting to have something else. But for us, we still can't get, even with the sun and everything, the panels are not efficient enough to give us 100% offset of power. And then even if we can get close, the batteries were still like $10,000 per battery, and we would have probably needed 2 or 3 of them. So they're starting to come down. I've seen a lot of somewhat portable new kind of solar battery setups, like Anchor has one and Blue Eddy has one now, and so you can kind of start to get them, and they're stackable and that sort of thing. So I think that's coming, but like to do the panels and all of that is a major production.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the layering, right? It's going, have solar for when you have solar, sunlight in the space, but then you have your propane, or you have your natural gas, or you have your diesel, or you have, you stack the layers for if you don't have one available, you try to.
Yeah.
As long as it's cost effective. It's like the whole house generator to me would be a complete and utter waste of money that I could do so much else with in my situation.
Yeah. Same.
And if I spend money on solar, I'm literally going to put it on the roof of the barn just to be able to light up the hen house when the power goes out.
Yeah, we get so much sun that it feels like such a shame to not try to use it, but we don't get enough to really run a house. You know what I mean? So, but that's partly, we have so many trees.
we just don't have sun. The minute the sun shines, you see everybody go outside. We just don't have fun here. It's terrible. Yeah.
Someone's asking if we have if any of us have a wind turbine.
I don't.
Mia Rosie.
Yeah. I've seen them. Costco sold one for a while.
That seems like a bougie prep that you.
Yeah.
Bougie prep. This should be a series. You should do a mini series on bougie preps.
Oh, just go to my channel. It's all
it's all bougie prep.
Yeah, it's for anyone who's new and came to watch canning videos and things.
We don't talk.
There's a very different thing over on our world. That although Lisa's going to teach me how to can and not kill myself. That is going to happen.
Yeah. I'm excited for your canning adventures. Both of you.
I am so excited. I can't even tell you how excited I am. And my wife is even more excited because she sees the box with the canner in it and is just like, when is this actually going to be a thing? Like,
I'm wondering too.
Yeah,
I'm wondering
it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I am older than fart dust, so there is a time limit on this.
I know. You had no power, and TUP was, going through flatliners. The real
I know. Yeah,
game,
it's not out of us. Yeah.
Yeah. Brecky, do you guys get do your utilities help you with solar at all, or is it not as much?
In North Carolina, if you qualify, you can get like $3,000 tax credit, or up to $3,000 tax credit. Natasha, tell me if I'm getting this wrong, but Budget Prepper also lives in North Carolina. But but we don't qualify because we have too many trees, so we don't get enough solar. Because the kind of the deal is, if you get solar but you're connected to the grid, so when
Yeah.
you produce more than you need, it goes back into your local power grid. So basically, let's say you get a lot of sun, you only use 70% on a really sunny day of what you are able to accumulate. You can sell, quote unquote, that 30% back as a credit, and it actually relieves the pressure on the local power stations because you're sharing that excess solar power. So that's part of why the state is funding it. Because not only are you providing for your own power, you can actually, quote unquote, sell back to the electrical company uh, a little bit of your solar, but you overproduce for credits. So that's why the state is funding it. But you have to qualify because you have to have enough sun to make it worthwhile for them to invest in some of the solar panels. And I have too many trees.
Yeah. So it sounds like two things. One is, it sounds like we've solved your firewood problem.
Right?
Yeah, really.
Take the
Yeah,
trees out.
Really.
cut down a tree.
This is a
Lord
win-win.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Woo.
But we also have they call it net metering here, and it's like they'll give you a tax break, but if you put it on your house, it has to tie in. And so there are some electricians who, once it is permitted, may or may not be able to aftermarket put in something that'll let you shut it off in an emergency. So I haven't done that. I don't know who would do such a thing. But I have asked, because if we're putting solar panels on the house in an emergency, like, I'm going to want those panels working and feeding our batteries that we can use at home,
absolutely.
not feeding the grid that's broken and doing nothing. So getting the shutoffs and things are kind of tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know what secrets Tup and Lisa are sharing over here, the text messages or something. They both looked away and
I'm reading
started
chat
giggling.
messages and
Yeah.
watching those. And
The
I know a
chat
lot of
has
peppers.
been lit up tonight.
Yeah, a lot of
One of my buddies, he lives not far from me, and he loses power more than I do, and I lose power every time you pass gas. So he said that he checked on solar 4 years ago, and it was 30 grand for the setup they quoted to cover my use, electric appliances, and no battery bank.
Wow.
And no sun. I'm like, I'll sit in the dark. I'm good. I'm
It's come down a lot because there's a lot of solar panels in my area, and some of my area is bougie, but some of my area is definitely not. So I think there must have been some kind of program where there must have been a really good rebate or something going on.
Yeah. There was also a
This
lot
causes
of
problems.
is your Brecky, is your area so one of the things that they were trying to sell in our area was the back when interest rates were super low, it was like 0% financing, and they would wrap the cost of replacing your roof into the overall financing of the solar panels, which, according to 2 accountants and an attorney that I talked to, is illegal and auditable and a problem, and no one should do that. It's not financial advice for me, but it's what my financial people told me that I was not going to do. But a lot of them were coming around and being like, oh, well, we'll replace your roof and then you can finance your roof. And so our neighborhood is kind of in that zone where, like, people are about to, they have 2 or 3 years left on the roofs based on when the houses were built. And so all of a sudden it became kind of a more attractive thing to all of them to be like, oh, well, we'll just, do that. Okay. So now everyone wants to leave. Tup is done.
I'm having a great
Lisa's
time.
done. Yeah, Brecky is. Yeah, okay. This is the party's ending, people.
I'll hang out.
I'm getting text messages. Where the F are you at?
Oh no.
We don't want to. We don't want to open
away.
Your poor heart, Tup.
We are not going to.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Lisa's had her head upright for 80 minutes now or whatever with the dreads. I mean, you probably need a nap or at least some sort of
She's tough.
neck massage or something.
Yeah. Oh my golly, I am tough for that.
Now, Tup is, TUP is the one I'm going to worry about.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yes.
I'm fine. I enjoy the conversation. I enjoy I enjoy this a lot.
Yes.
We're having fun.
This
Yeah.
is
We're
so
a fun
fun.
group. We're a fun group. All
Even when
right.
we
Well,
can't
let's.
see Brecky. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, and by the way, Brecky, did I get a good picture of you? I feel like I got a decent
I
picture
think, I
of you
think the
to add to
camera
the
with the
thing.
red X is like really, really nice.
It's my best side.
Yeah.
I'm gonna swap
I am
out
wearing
the
my red glasses tonight, so
the thumbnail for our next edition. I'm just gonna have the video camera with the red X.
There you go.
Yeah.
it's a mystery. What does is she even real? Is she AI generated?
All right, everyone. Well, then we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna let Cup go have dinner. I am also gonna go have dinner. Lisa is gonna go either shovel some snow
going to
or go to
bed.
sleep.
It's
Frankie's gonna try to figure out how video cameras work. So she's got a lot of Googling ahead. But thanks for joining us. If you're new here, we're here usually every Wednesday or Friday, depending, and somewhere between 5 and 5:30.
There is
depending
little
on,
to no consistency to this live chat, but
there is, yeah, exactly.
We
But
have a
we're
good
fun.
time.
We
And
always
we
stay on
enjoy-
track with the topics, though. Just
we
very
never
consistent.
stay on track with
Yeah, like we put something in the title because they make us.
not what we're
And
talking about.
So there you go.
Yep.
If you like it, go ahead, subscribe, all the things. We'll have more podcast episodes up at some point. I got to turn them into that, but that'll happen. Thanks again for joining us. Have a wonderful rest of your week. We'll see you all later, and thanks everybody for joining us. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.